there are copies up here. I think everyone has pretty much discovered. Gene, if you'd like a copy of the PowerPoint and then the budget summary. All right. Basically, this workshop is to present the budget to the school committee. We have not seen this prior to today. John, as he has done previously, is going to take us through a PowerPoint that will highlight some of the changes. So hopefully everything will be fairly self-explanatory. Once he's done, then we can entertain questions from the committee, clarifications, what have you. Anybody have any questions?
PowerPoint's going to be there?
Yeah, we'll set aside, step aside, so we can see.
Hey, how are you?
All right, everybody all set? Mr. McNamee, we'll get out of the way.
The budget is a work in process. I mean, as of this morning, we're getting numbers, for example, for regional special education, those numbers are coming in. So when you look at this budget, the salaries and fringe benefit numbers, are pretty good. There are some expense numbers that, we do have some estimates on that will be fine over the next 3 weeks, so that when we meet again, if there are any changes to those estimates, we'll then present those at that point in time. But at this point, the numbers seem to be pretty good with except for those estimates. There were some last minute changes as we go through it. So we'll start with the student enrollment. And as of the end of the year, we're looking at 245 K-8, 122 at Pleasant High School. Down slightly from last year, we were at 52, 15, and 123 at the high school. The K-8 enrollment, and this is obviously, when you look at 17 and the K projection, we still have it, it's in March when that enrollment goes out, and most districts start to get students in. So we do have 20 in there as a projection. I think it was pointed out at the last meeting, if you look at FY17, grade 1, we're expecting 3 students from a private school to come in, so I bumped that up to 20. So that we are looking at 232 for FY17 versus 245. And again, as you get into 18, there's K in one class that get a little money, so we just need to focus on where we are on 17. And of course, this doesn't take into consideration if we do any pre-K as well. Just strictly K-8. And at the high school, we're at 122 as of the end of the year, 12/31/15. Our projection is 129. We have a pretty healthy 8th grade going in. There's 37 going in, 3 going out, and then a 7 and an increase there. So we're looking at 129 in our budget projection for the high school. I'm going to go through the revenue items and just the total expenses, and then we'll get into the individual items as we go through the detailed budget. I got the state aid from the Department of Education, and we're looking at about $413,000, which is a 2.72% increase over last year. As you know, state aid is not a significant amount of our revenue when you're looking at a $7 million budget. A lot of factors that go in there that it doesn't really lend itself to a significant input into our revenue number. This number will change based on, the RIDE does take a enrollment survey in March, which is what they use for the state aid, so they'll recompute that based on that enrollment. And I'm not sure where the government's gone with tweaking the funding formula, so there may be some adjustments as a result of that, but my understanding is there's no new money coming in, but she is going to change the formula and maybe allocate some more money to ELL students in high-cost special ed. But at this point in time, this is the projection that RIDE has given us. Now, again, this is the first go-through on the budget, so we're looking at the town appropriation, and you can see in 13, we were level funded. 14, we got a 1.5% increase at 93. 15, we were level funded. Last year, we got 110,000 at 1.74. And this year, we've got an initial projection of about 85,866 as an increase, which is 1.34% above last year's appropriation. So that's not the total revenue, this is just the town appropriation. And we'll go through the budget as to what makes up that change. Our total expenditures in 2014 were at $6.783 million, $6,783,000. That was 6.5% increase over the prior year. 15, we actually cleaned down a little. And 2016, we were up 3.7%. And we're looking at this year an increase. And this is the number that if you look at the town budget, this is what they'll show as educational expenditures, because then they show the state aid on the top, and then they show our Medicare reimbursement on the top as well. So that is the line item of the stroke that you'll see for education, which is $6,930,994, which is a 1.43% increase. On the salaries and wages, a total salary line item, we're looking at $3,008,106 as a total salary expense, and you can see that under your summary sheet here. The general assumptions in that, we have no increase in FTEs. I believe we had 30.6 full-time equivalents on the educational side, and that's what we're projecting in FY17. There was a 2% increase in the certified wages, where FY17 will be year 3 of that contract, and there was a 2% increase in that contract. The non-certified, there was a 2% increase in those wages in year 2 of the contract, and the administrative salaries are based on existing contracts that are in place.
John, is this assuming that we're going to keep all teachers?
Correct. So no increase in FTE is the assumption that we had the same numbers as we had last year.
Right, but I'm thinking about the lower numbers, we wouldn't maybe need as many teachers.
Well, the problem is we don't have those numbers yet, so we are basically looking at the same
based on the figures you gave us, there are several classes that could be combined that could do just one teacher.
Yeah, those are the things that need to be worked through at this point in time.
So there's been no discussion about,
Well, I think that you've got a couple things to look at. One is you don't know what your kindergarten is going to be, so that's a number that we don't know.
no, but we know it's going to be around 8.
No, what we know is that the demographic, and this is the hard numbers, the demographic of children born to parents of Little Compton residents in the year that would be appropriately entering kindergarten were 8 children
Right.
were born to parents of Little Compton residents. Now, of course, that doesn't account for move-ins, adoptions, whatnot. But generally, that number is within 4 or 5, or it has been traditionally within 4 or 5.
Where'd you get that 8 number?
That's the
Like
hard,
this.
yeah, with
From,
grades.
Yeah, no, I know, but did you get it? 12 was the number that I always had in terms of what the course.
No, those for this year coming, last year was 12. Last year was 12, and we ended up with 16. The number that, and that was a concern when we were looking at the early budget numbers last year, was 8 coming into this year. So it is a concern.
Yeah,
That
so,
is a concern.
but right now, I mean, if everything were to stay as it was,
Mhm.
kindergarten would remain one teacher.
Correct, but there are other classes that only have 20 students, and there's really hard pressed to put those 2 teachers with 20 students, because they're the upper grade. K1, 2, you say, okay, but once you get past, 3rd grade and up, there's no real hard defense of that smaller class.
So, we're looking at what we've got here.
Well, you've got 6th grade is 31, it's 37, you've got 28, 25.
Right,
And you go to 21.
but those numbers, 20 and 20,
That's
that's 2017, I'm looking at 2017.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're projecting 20. And but we already know that probably the most will have
Projected 20 with K or 1? Which
Yeah.
one?
coming into
Yeah.
K.
K. So that we know that the most that's coming in.
We only have 1 teacher per K.
Right,
But also understand, your setup, the way you've set up now, is you have LEA teachers, you've got an LEA system where you've got kids going back and forth between 2 teachers. If you change to 1 teacher, you're going to change your whole instructional model
exactly.
to do that. You just need to know that the whole thing's going to change, you start changing it.
I don't think there's ever been a time in this school that we haven't gone from switching back and forth into different
Yeah, I'm-
models. But I'm just saying,
Yeah, I'm just
looking
saying,
at
if you do that,
all
it's-
the extra money that you're going to spend, what value in education are we really giving to the kids?
Well, I think the value that you get, and somebody asked me this the other day, is that if you have 20 kids in your class, and they walk in the door, and you give them a book, and you give them a worksheet, and that's what you do, and there's 15 kids come into class, you give them a book, you give them a worksheet, then there's no difference. But if you have 15 kids in your class, and you don't have 20 kids, and you give them a book and a worksheet, and by the way, you get to go around and work with each one of those individually because you have the time to do that, that's the difference. So the difference becomes, if you change how you instruct kids because you have lower numbers, that makes a difference for kids. If you're going to do the same instructional model, whether you have 20 kids or 15 kids, then it wouldn't make a difference. So I think that's the difference that Little Compton's had, is you've had low numbers, so your teachers spend a lot more time individualizing the kids because they have the ability to do it.
From a contract perspective, kindergarten, as far as what we're projecting, even with the numbers, even with the numbers that we project, kindergarten, 1st grade, and 4th grade are eligible to have 1 teacher.
Correct.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You could do that.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I'm just pointing out
If we're
what
going to be
you've got
looking at
and
the place.
what the difference is.
Right, oh, I understand. And I'm not one for letting teachers go, don't get me wrong. So I don't want that misinterpreted. But when you look at the low numbers, and I'm not sure, from my experience being here, I'm not sure that it does the kids a service to have 10 kids in a class, and 2 teachers, 10 kids, it just, you know, one teacher has 10, the other has 10, and then you switch. I think there's too much, sometimes I think there's too much time for the teacher, just for one.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
I mean, I just,
and with all that we deal with and all we have to look at, and every year, it comes down to this, in terms of the real monies that are in our budget, that, you know, significant ones, where we can save a long time for some. So obviously, every year, it's going to, the same issue is going to be on the table, and, you know, we, as a committee, will come to it.
and that's what I've been hearing. That's what is in the year, in 7 quarters. So, anyway, I'm sorry, didn't mean to take that away from you.
If I may add, when we are looking into grades 3 and up, if you may, we chose 2 years ago with grade 3 to start having those classes go to a teacher for math and science only, go to another teacher for ELA and social studies, basically for the student to have, for the teacher, I'm sorry, to have a much better approach, a much more significant way of teaching those children with much more of an expertise, being that the teacher is only going to teach two subjects. That followed, and we did have, according to the teachers and according to the outcome of those classes, we moved that model into grade 4 this year. And that has been working also well. So if we are walking into grades 4 and touching their particular grade, it's going to take everything apart that we have been doing for grades 3. And the way that we are building into what is happening in grades 5 and 6, 7, and 8.
Maybe it would help. So teachers teach 4 periods in a day, correct?
Talking 5, 6, 7, 8.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Mr. Ritter, last year,
Excuse me, I have
Hang on one
questions.
second, yeah, that's good.
sorry, I thought you were done.
The model that we have at 5, 6, 7, 8, that's how it is. That the teacher will see the students, that particular teacher will see 4 classes of social studies, 4
Right.
classes. The other ones from that lower grade, from 4 down to K, it's not.
Don't they just teach 4 classes?
3 and
2
4,
social studies, 2 ELA?
correct. But with 3 and 4, there's difference because there's also in there that they have the spelling piece of it. It's another unit that they have. So it's
Okay.
now 3 and 4, it's not like 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, so the upper grade teachers
The upper grade,
just teach
that's what it
4
is.
subjects, and then they're done for the day.
Correct.
Are you all set?
Yeah, Patrick, go ahead.
Last year in grade 3, you had 2 teachers. 21. And how did it go? How did they perform, those students?
In science, or math, or ELA,
Overall.
they did a very good job.
The dynamic was good in that class?
Very good.
I know there was some anxiety.
And so, you think cutting a teacher in that grade coming forward, what's your opinion of that?
I would be totally against it.
And for what reason?
The reason that in a setting like ours, and what we are putting together, what we've been focusing as a school and as a school committee, we had your backup in the past, but we are focusing in a way that we are putting in place programs that can grow from one year to the other. So in order for us to have, let's say, a very successful ELA program in grades 7 and 8, we are seeing some of those fruits right now in grades 8. It has to come down to, at a lower level, we start building on that program. And that's what we started in grade 3. that we moved it into grade 4, and grade 4 has pushed it into grade 5. So if we want to have continuity, if we want to have that ability, like Dr. Paula said, that we were able to work in a more direct way with the student, I think we will do a disservice to the students by combining the classes. And we have to look back for 1 year when we had that grade 8 class.
My
We
child,
only had one
my
class,
child was in that class.
and we had 25 students in
Well,
that
I was
class.
in that class, sure.
That one class alone changed the whole dynamic of the whole entire middle school. So if we look at those particulars, and we are going to do that to more than one grade, I don't think it's going to be healthy at all for our educational system.
I think it's very important not to just look at a number, but you need to look at all 21 of those kids and see how they're performing and interacting with their 2 teachers before we're just cutting people. And like you say, how you've got a structure here that's continuing on, and you want to see the fruits of it. So.
If you remember, and I know that you were not at the school committee person at the time, but when I came in, I asked for a 5-year period to build programs that you could see the outcome of those programs. And this is my 4th year. We basically are starting to see some of those fruits right now. And we have a lot more work to do, because this foundation has to be created in a very strong way in order that we can see the kids take off. When we have the ability at certain levels here in school to take our kids and bring them to the high school level, and we are doing that now, we have a tremendously strong math program, tremendously strong. We are now embarking in an ELA program that we have a teacher right now doing, and I keep on mentioning this because I think it's superb, To Kill a Mockingbird, that it's being taught right now at grade 9 at PHS. It's being taught at grade 9 at the Abbey. That says something about our 8th graders. Are they going to have certain difficulties? Yes, it's the first year, but we're building right there. And it's only going to be a better outcome if we stay on that track.
Maybe we could, why don't we let John go finish with his presentation?
Sorry.
And we can come back, Ryan, if you want to say something as well. But we can get into the discussion again if there's...
Well, it's probably important to stay on that. We're going to go through it.
All right.
Segments.
You got anything
My
else to
other
say?
comment was that when we're going to that model, I know that there was some anxiety from some parents to split the kids, thinking they're a little bit too young to do that. But I think that that's been shown to be.
We only had great comments, superb comments from grade 3. Yes, there was a lot of anxiety, but once we embarked on that movement, and the design of the building is conducive to that. There's no 2 ways about it. So by doing that, and by the students seeing the teacher right next door, being able to get more of that specific instruction, and the teacher being a better teacher of that particular subject, because now the teacher only teaches 2 subjects instead of 4. The teacher becomes more of an expert to be able to bring forth the student at a much higher level.
In your opinion, when is a class size too small?
Too small?
Too small. I mean, realistically, when is it too small?
I think we're at the right rate right now.
10, 12 being...
Correct.
Oh.
Yes.
All right. Again,
This is a summary of the FTEs.
I just want to say one more thing about, this has been brought up a very good question, and I think one of the issues that Little Compton has that other people don't have is that when you're in a Barrington or East Greenwich or Portsmouth, they have 7 or 8 teachers on every grade level. So if you get a kid that's got when you only have one teacher, and that's the teacher for that grade, if that kid's all day with that teacher and it's not a good match, sometimes it's tough. And I mean, I understand Little Compton's a little bit that may be what you get when you move here, but I mean, if there's a possibility of having any kind of flexibility or any kind of, rearrangement of kids and teachers, I would look for that. But I also understand clearly that the numbers are the numbers. And I think I said earlier, what is the number that you get to when the number is so low that the school is going to say, we can't go that low? And I get that as an issue.
As I indicated when we get into it, there's going to be some changes that are going to come as we put this budget together. And yesterday, the first change was that we're going to be adding a pre-K special education half-day program, which is not reflected in these numbers. Yeah.
That's paid for by the state or,
This is through the report regional collaborative.
so that doesn't cost us money.
So the feds negotiated that.
There's a piece that we'll pay, because we pay a piece to the region, but it's not, you know, it's not like we're hiring you to get all the costs.
But this year, that's going to start, I believe.
This year, this will be coming up tonight at your school committee meeting. There will be, after the school vacation, a preschool program starting here for preschool kids. Initially, that they thought that we were going to pick up the salary of the aide and the teacher. I was at the regional meeting the other day, and the superintendent decided that would be very unfair for us, and I thought that was a very good thought on their part. And so we will not be paying in that money for that position out of their budget, out of the regional budget, out of your budget. So glad I went to that meeting.
And that's mostly chipping kids, right?
You know, I don't know the makeup of that program. I don't know who's in that class. There's Middletown kids, Dividend kids. I don't think there are any Middletown kids. But I don't know. Maybe you can ask that tonight, because they're going to be to do presentations.
So as we go into 17, we would probably add half an FTE for a preschool teacher, half an FTE for a SPED aide. And what will happen is the out-of-district tuition for the Newport Collaborative will be reduced by the amount of money that we're contributing on the expense side as we put those in here. But I just didn't have enough time to put that in here and show the adjustment on the spend.
So we are going to have an increase in salary for that half-time teacher and that half-time aide.
Right, but then we're going to get a reduction in the amount that we're paying to Newport Regional for tuition.
For the same amount.
Only for the morning part, not for the afternoon part.
This is a half-time
It's not
position.
gonna be- it's not gonna be half.
Right, but you're also saying we're adding an extra half.
No, just a half time for that.
So it's only going to be in the morning.
Yes.
You're not going to have anything in the afternoon?
Not at this point.
Not for September.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
So that'll be a change, will be reflected in there. So as you look at the budget on the salary side number, you have $2,852,000 in regular salaries, and that's made up of all the teachers that you see here. And those are just the full-time equivalents, which really goes into that number. The next line item, which is professional development, that is the 3 days that the teachers get in their contract for professional development. So that again is contractual. On the substitutes, you have projected, they budgeted last year 73, we're at 66 there. And let's see where that schedule is. substitutes to the end of December. And look at that run rate based on a 180-day school year. And projected out where we would wind up with general substitute days. Now, this is subject to change. I mean, if you have a teacher that goes out on unplanned medical leave, you're obviously going to have some fluctuations in this number here. And Mr. Arruda then provided subs that he would need for professional development. So if you see on the top at 9,500, that would be the planned professional development subs that would be used. So that comes up with roughly about 67,000 for the substitute line item for the current year. And again, that is part of that salaries and expense line. That number's been running.
Have we saved money since we hired the other teachers to be the full-time substitutes? Is that why it's projected lower?
Well, that number, that fluctuates based on the absence. It's tough to say. And I think one of them is going to be she's doing it more full-time than something going on. Right, so. So we just want to kind of get in the ballpark with that number anyway. It is being projected a little bit lower than it was last year.
So 9,500 is for professional development,
Right.
so there's about 95 days.
Right down below is the subs that Mr. Arruda has projected. So yes, I don't know, is that for the...
That's not how I arrive at, Mrs. Bogara. I arrive at it in a way that it's not 95 days, but there are certain days, like if I have an ELA professional development, I might have 5 teachers go on that one particular day. That's going to cost me 500 instead of saying 5 days at 100. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
And what we try to do in order to save money is we will run some half days. I will have, let's say, K1, 2 in the morning, and I'll have 3, 4 in the afternoon. The next person we rotate it. That way we'll save some money, get a few more things done.
Thank you.
The next item, and Mr. Arruda can speak to this as well, would be the after-school programs. So last year we did, it was the first year I believe we did the summer academy.
Summer Academy is the big ticket item that we have on this section. I'll go over the After the Bell Middle School. It is a program that we run on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And that's, we run it specifically to that particular grade and to that particular subject, so it becomes almost a tutorial for that particular student. The same thing that we are running right now at the elementary level, we have grades 3 and 4, where we provide services for those grades on Mondays and Thursdays for grade 4, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays for grade 3, and we run those right to the month of May. We usually start in November and we go weekly right up to the month of May. And that's where you see the $3,600 and the $8,000. It's a little bit more expensive up at the upper level because of being content specific. The RTI prep is, we are saving a significant amount of money there. We used to run the RTI meetings before school. Now we run them during school time. And I placed in there $450 because sometimes I just need to give the chairs a couple hours here and there in order to prepare some of the paperwork that we need to bring to some certain meetings that we don't have time to do during the school day at times. That's why I put in that $540. The $23,000, this is a program that we ran here last year. We know that this was a first that we ran, and we basically structured a program with open doors to the community. We had an invitation to those students that we knew that we needed them here, according to certain needs that those students had, those students were invited specifically to come in. And we also opened up the doors to any student that needed to be involved with academics during the summertime. The main reason for that, I shouldn't say the main reason, but one of the reasons for that is we saw that kids in town going back and forth with literally nothing to do, so we wanted to build some constructive, fun way of learning and bring it to them during the summertime. As an example, that the science teachers that we brought, they were instructed not to have any worksheets, not to have any books, but to have a specific experiment every single day for those kids. So they had hands-on. So we provided math, we provided reading, we provided sports, we provided computers. So we ran a whole day program, and that is why the price on that is higher than what we usually had in the past. We used to run programs for about 2 hours, probably 3 or 4 days a week, and this encompassed right up to 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, ma'am, sorry.
What was the attendance?
Excellent.
Like how many, what kind of?
In the 90s.
90s,
The
daily.
90s, correct. It was very, very good. And the other piece there that it was very good for the community is that if Mrs. Crafty would go on vacation for the first 2 weeks and she wanted her kids to come in, the week number 3, we allowed those kids to come in. And we had a flexible schedule. If you wanted just to attend the morning, you could attend the morning. If you wanted to attend the afternoon, you could attend the afternoon. If you wanted to come just on Mondays and Wednesdays, you could come on Mondays or Wednesdays. So the scheduling was so tremendously flexible that allowed a lot of parents to basically send the kids whenever they could to the school. And that was, I think, one of the big turnouts that we had was because of the flexibility in the scheduling also.
Do you know how many kids attended the previous year? Or it was just the 2-hour?
We didn't even have it the previous year. The previous year was the pods. That was 2 years, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. But I know that since I've been here, that was the very first big one, but I looked at the numbers.
But there's been like a summer help program, summer school. I've had kids
Correct,
attend
summer
like
school, yes.
reading lab or
Yes,
reading
but
something like that.
those were basically students that had a need,
Yeah,
that were invited to come in.
yeah.
We did that plus.
Patrick?
Yeah. You know, when you say kids have nothing to do, you kind of preaching to the choir to me. You know, we're trying to get, you know, the infrastructure here up to par with other towns. So I'm with you on that. How much money was spent last year on the summer academy? Is that the number? So you're going to keep the same number? Okay. Secondly,
You want to give me more? I can arrange to do a
secondly,
little bit
well,
more.
we're trying. I think we're all trying to save money here. So have you coordinated with the community center and with the activities that they do, that maybe they want to get involved and maybe slash that 2340 in half?
We had that discussion last year when we were approached by Mrs. Malloy. It's two different pieces. Anything that we did here for fun was still an educational piece really attached to it. So we're not as arts and crafts type of a program. Yes, we could, I'll be more than happy to sit down at the table and see what is it that we can bring. But any one of our programs was all instructional programs.
Yeah, you know,
and I had a certified teacher for every single one of them.
and I appreciate that. You know, my thought is that we coordinate with them with more than maybe just a meeting, that we really coordinate. And we're more flexible, they're more flexible, because we've got the same, we're going after the same kids. It's not like we got a bunch of kids here that they can thrive and we can thrive. We're going after the same kids. So I think we should really sit down and mesh this together. It only makes sense to me that they pay half, we pay half. We're saving, the kids are learning, you get the teachers, they got their thing. Let's get together with more than a meeting and more than, not that, you know, we're just talking about having a meeting or whatever, let's really get down to it and work with this community center. That's how I feel. I think it's beneficial monetarily, and I think it's beneficial for the kids, it's beneficial for the community. So, you know, more than just one meeting, I don't know how many meetings you had, but I think it's gotta be more than one. I don't know if it was late, you're already into it,
No,
they were already into theirs, I have no idea. But I think it needs to be soon and comprehensive.
Pat, if I can just make a comment, and I know you have raised your hands, let me just say this. Obviously, we're competing for the same kids. The kids can't be two different places at once now, as I think, I maybe I'm wrong on this, in terms of how those programs are funded at the community center. I think you charge tuition, so it's not as if they're paying, it's if I want my child to participate in their programs during the summer, I have to pay for it. Whereas obviously here, as a community, we're paying for it, it doesn't cost a parent anything to send their child here. It doesn't cost them individually, as a community to pay for it. So that in and of itself is going to create a situation that I think is going to be tough to iron out. You know, I know there was some issue, I think, with it, and there was a thought that maybe we hadn't got together and sort of worked things through in an effort to synergize the programs.
Well, some of the issue, Mr. Alder, was that basically what you were just saying, that the parents had the choice to send the child to an environment where they could learn and they didn't have to pay, and then they would send the child to the community center and they had to pay. So that, we did feel some of that, we did have some discussion with that with Mrs. Malloy. And we're not in the business of stealing kids. I don't want to do that, nor do I want to create hard feelings. And I'll be more than happy to work with that, but that is problematic.
I think that, you know, as a first step, and again, I don't know to what degree.
It's worth sitting at the table.
Yeah, I mean, to what degree there may be some overlap. I think we need to stay away from some of the things that they want to focus on. But I think in terms of what we're doing here, there's the educational component because of the school. So I think it's going to be probably difficult to get that. I think we want to see that. Maybe we want to say something.
Well, just to echo what you were saying, because we were looking last year and we saw the fee that they wanted, and I'm like, it wasn't worth it for us. I mean, if we were going to do anything, then we would have come to school where there was more of an educational focus. We didn't do that either. But I mean, we had looked at both options, and we immediately dismissed the community center because of the high tuition rate.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's kind of my point. I don't want to immediately dismiss anything.
No.
You know, I wanted, you know, let's think out of the box. Maybe they'll change their tuition. Who knows?
Maybe they could write a grant and offer something within the school. If they wanted to write a grant and offer something.
I think we, you know, I think competition isn't going to be accurate. It's, you know, I think it could be a delicate subject, obviously.
I don't think it's delicate. You know, I know it's a
I'm
big
sure that
figure.
Mr. Root and I can meet with them and see if there's something we can do to make sure that they're included in that process.
Well, it's a big number. You know, we're in budget season, and this number hasn't historically been here. This is a new number that once we're going to be cutting things historically, like we always do. I think that's going to be something that's going to look back to be cut, and we're going to be looking at other options to maybe fund that, as Mr. Curtis here is probably thinking about.
Yeah, but I don't think it should be cut. It's one thing to look at it from a cost standpoint. I don't think it should be cut. For what's been put on the table in terms of the number of kids and who's going to be where and what programs are going to be successful, I don't think that needs to be the interest between potentially looking at cut this number. I think it's a great program. So go ahead.
Comparing what we had done in the past with the other program, just the summer program versus.
I wasn't here.
Holly, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You done?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, did we get any bigger benefit out of being in the program when we did it this past year?
That I can answer. The
my
bigger
question.
benefit was that we did not focus on one sector of students.
Right.
We focused on every single one of the students that could come in, and that made a difference because we could challenge at both ends. So the ones that needed the remediation, they were invited and asked to come in, and then we opened up the doors to the community to have the other ones come
All right, so I have a couple comments. I think this was a great program. My kids have attended a tutoring or whatever we're gonna call it, reading program for the past, I don't know how many years, 5, 6 years. That was strictly the 2 hours, 3 days a week or whatever, math or reading. Because they needed it, very beneficial, free. They went in, they got their help. While I think this is a great program, I look at this a lot as a free babysitting program for a lot of families. I know it's helping a lot of kids, but so was the summer program that my kids attended. I know the kids had a lot of fun that attended it. I'm not totally against it. One of the things I thought that maybe we could mesh with the community center is I believe that that once a week you guys went somewhere, is that right?
The science.
So
Right.
you rented a bus and went somewhere. That could be something that the community center kids could jump in on, and the community center could fund the bus, or something, an easy way that maybe we could connect with the community center.
With the city down top of the basketball
The last two items in the salaries expense line item are contractual, and these represent the advisor stipends and the coach's salary. Again, I think these are all in the contract.
These have increased a little bit when it comes to basketball. We are looking at lacrosse. We have to hire a coach now. In the past, it has been a volunteer coach. I also placed in there a cross country. We have two teams this year. Looking to bring 2 teams next year. We see girls field hockey is something that I would like to introduce, a sport that I would like to introduce to Wilbur McMahon School. I believe that it's a sport that can be well received by our girls in the fall. Right now, I think we would have enough numbers to basically have a team for field hockey, and that's another sport that we would introduce at our school that could give the students another way of expressing themselves and their talents. Yes, sir.
Patrick, yeah, go ahead.
Soccer, is that for 2 coaches or 1?
That's the 2.
So I would adamantly say it's gonna be higher than that. Basketball's for 2?
Basketball is
2 coaches?
2 coaches. Yeah, no, that's 4 coaches.
Okay, that needs to be higher. Lacrosse, how many coaches?
Lacrosse is
2?
4 coaches.
Well, it needs to be higher. We live far away, and if you want to attract coaches that want to come here, what we're offering is not going to attract anyone, and you're going to get volunteers. If you're serious about it, okay, you have to put more money into it. You just gave $40,000. We just gave $40,000 to our field, okay? We need to pay coaches to come here. There's no coaches here that live here that I know of that are gonna take that salary. So if we want to get serious about it, we've got to increase these stipends, without question.
I'm sorry, Dave, go ahead.
Didn't we come about these salaries based on all the other
Those
middle
are
schools?
contractual rates.
But didn't we decide on them based on what other school systems were paying their coaches?
If they did, that's wrong. I can tell you that right now. Those are extreme. Those are going to be the lowest.
We have, well, okay.
And think about where we are.
Excuse me, could you finish with the answer?
Yeah. Are you all set?
No.
I was not part of that committee, but from what I understand, they tried to average out with other schools. And that the numbers that I put there are contractual numbers.
Thank you.
That we pay $1,000 for every single coach.
Contractual or policy?
They're contractual.
You know, what we can do is we we've got another budget thing. Let us go back and find out what they're paying coaches in these different areas, get the actual numbers, we'll bring them to you, and we'll find out what people are paying.
And I think when you do that, we need to be over that amount
Yeah.
because of where we are.
That's your call. I'll get you the numbers, and if you guys feel that you want to go over,
I mean,
but you'll know what the market is, and I'm sure that you're probably correct that to get people to come the extra distance, they're looking for some more money. I understand.
do you know off the top of your head what the Jamestown Middle School basketball coach stipend?
No. No. Long time.
Come on.
No. But we'll get coaches. We'll cost that out for you.
Thank you. Can you get me mine, Polly? Please, thank you.
Mr. McNamee, that's the last category.
And that's section 22.
Those are all middle school, right?
Correct.
You may want to check, Mr. Fowler, and see if there's any volunteers coaching any other middle school in the state. When you find the numbers, I would be hard pressed to see there's any volunteers, except for that way down here.
Patrick, I would agree, I don't want to be caught in a situation where we don't have coverage, because
It's kind of like
we're underfunded.
like a pro team has to overspend to get their free agent here.
Well,
You know, they can go to Miami and be on the beach, or they can come to Boston
So
for
what
an
I'm going
extra
to do is
$4
I'm
million.
going to find out the surrounding districts, because that's where we pull our people from. It's not what they're paying up in Lincoln, because Lincoln person's not going to go down.
Sure.
But I'll find out what surrounding districts are paying, because that's a competitive rate. As a matter of fact, you know, I mean, you pay $100 a day for subs because, you know, people are, this is the end of the earth in Rhode Island. So, you know, so we'll see, we'll find out what's around us.
Can I ask a
We'll
question?
leave that info.
Mr. Ruda, are we having trouble finding coaches?
We have-
Somewhat,
we have volunteers.
yeah,
We are having, so we're having trouble finding,
we did, and we still do.
and we still do.
And then, I don't know how,
what's the
I would
increase?
say that, yeah.
We were at 8,000, I'm sorry, we were at 8,000 last year. We've increased that 5,000 to 13,000.
We have,
Coaches.
we have a lot more kids that went out to basketball. So basically, right now, we have 4 teams of basketball. I need 4 coaches for those teams.
That's girls and boys.
Mr. Ruda, these people are all certified,
Yes, sir.
so they have to go through some kind of training, right?
Correct. And we have, and they also have concussion training. We require this certificates.
Thank you.
Mr. McNamee, floor is yours again.
Okay. So, going through the salary expense line items, and this worksheet summarizes the fringe benefits associated with those salaries. As you can see, they're all contractual for the most part. Your FICA, Medicare, obviously, are required, with the exception that the teachers are not part of the FICA system. But they do pay Medicare. Your ERSRI retirement, which is the defined benefit portion of the teacher's retirement, and the TIA PREF, which is the defined contribution portion of the teacher's retirement, and life insurance. The health and dental, what I'm projecting is about a 5% increase on the medical, 3% increase on dental. Those were fairly comparable to last year's without the adjustment for the deductible. I don't think we've got enough time to go through that. But the deductible we're going to be paying, reimbursing through the end of December, so we may see a little bit of a savings on that in the last 6 months, but That's not figured in these numbers at this point in time. And then you have some small survivor benefit fringe, so we're looking at a little over $1 million of fringe benefits on the basic salary number of 2.9 million.
For the most part, that's all contractual, isn't it?
Right, it's not much.
So,
You're a teacher, you have to be in the retirement plan. And the health and dental, we do have that through, it's kind of a group buying through the trust. Trust, Blue Cross providing the insurance, but it's a premium-based plan, but we do get the benefits of applying to a co-op, which the town also participates in as well. So let's talk about some of the other expenses that are of significance. The busing, if you look at your operating expenses, which are on page 3, that first line, which is 53,209, is the bus monitors. Then on page 4, you're going to have under 55,111 is the transportation portion of it on page 4. So on page 3 is bus monitors, page 4 is the transportation. So we're in the second year of our bus contract. We went out to bid 2 years ago, about 18 months ago. Our daily cost per bus right now is $349.57, and we're using 6 buses, and plus we have the late bus that you can see down there. The contract calls for a cost of living increase on the daily bus rate. I've used 1.5%. If I look at Portsmouth, which has a cost of living increase in it, in its tuition, last year the increase was like 0.8. So I think we're okay at the 1.5. Not sure where that's going to show up, but so I have increased the daily bus rate by 1.5%. I've also increased the bus monitor's hourly rate, which is $23.75 right now, to $24.11. We do have a surcharge for fuel, which I don't expect that we may even need that at this point in time, depending on where oil prices stay. But again, we're looking at this prospectively, so I have put in $2,500 for that. We have the late bus in there. We have the extracurricular activities. Mr. Ruger is going to need a number for the busing for the extracurricular and for the athletics as well. So that gives us a total transportation cost, buses only, of $418.2. And the bus monitors, which will average about 22 hours a day, 180 days, it gives us roughly around $95,000 for bus monitors.
John, so a question.
Yes, sir.
On page 4 here, I think we're all right. So we've got the advertising and the printing. Increasing dramatically, why? From 250 to 1,845.
Look over the far left column.
Am I missing something?
What's that number you're looking at?
Am I missing?
5541 and
Oh, sorry. 55401 and 55501.
Yeah, the advertising cost, that, I know we did a fair amount of advertising last year for the kindergarten. So the last year's budget was a little bit low based on what we did in terms of advertising. So we enhanced that a bit. The printing, I'd have to check on that one. I
I haven't heard, I can find out for you.
Yeah, if you find out how many they're gonna, they'll be able to tell us on a daily basis. what
Yeah,
day
it'd
they
be
will
interesting to know that 11,000 company we get driving.
Yeah, it's worth every penny.
I think, quite honestly, that bus is the price that you pay for counting kids' tuition out to a high school where you're actually saving a lot of money, because if you had to run, no, but I'm saying, if you had to run a high school, it would be very expensive, so it's kind of the saving piece we got.
Yeah, I'm not really saying.
No, I'm just
curious.
I just say it's part of, it's that part of doing business. If the high school, it was like Rogers High School, Middletown High School, they're so close together, you wouldn't need a bus because the kids, parents, cars, I mean, go back and forth, but unfortunately, because of the distance, is where you have that built into it.
The next line